Benwo Nile Loko. Esiku Dedi Asiko. Hey guys, it's Adirunke again. Today I'd like to talk about feces and defecating. So don't think it's gross. It's not feces, come on, it's not gross. So I'm going to tell you the names that we have for feces, and I'm going to tell you what the act of passing out feces is called. So what defecating is called. So going into what feces is, or the names that we have for feces, the first that I have here is Igbe. That's feces. Igbe. Now Igbe could also be a forest, like a bush, so that could be that, although that would be more like Igbo. Igbo would be a more frequent name that you would hear more often for bush. Funny enough, Igbo could also be the Yoruba name for weed. So Igbo could be bush or forest. It could also be like marijuana. However, Igbe is feces, and it could also be bush or forest. Igbe. Now, apart from Igbe, we also call feces Igbonse. Now, I'm going to explain this when I get to how you would, this is feces, right? How you would say defecating, passing out feces, passing out Igbonse. I'm going to explain Igbonse better when I get to that part. However, Igbonse is less risque. It's less, literal. Igbonse. That's another name that we have for feces. Igbonse. So I've mentioned Igbe. I've mentioned Igbonse. The last one that I have is Imi. That's another one that we have for feces. Imi, feces. So I've mentioned Igbe, I've mentioned Igbonse, I've mentioned Imi. Igbe is the most common of the three. So you would hear Igbe more frequently than you would hear Igbonse or Imi. Igbe is the most literal. Igbe. Now let's go into the verbs. So when you want to say defecate, when you pass out feces, you defecate. Feces is the noun. To defecate, that would be the verb. So yagbe is to defecate. Yagbe. It's a combination of two words. Igbe. The ya in yagbe means to emit from the backside. Igbe is poop or feces. Igbe is defecate. Yagbe. When you expand that, you get igbe, and it means defecate. And then when you want to make passing out Igbonse a verb, I mentioned Igbonse as feces. When you want to mention passing that out, defecate, the verb defecate, Shigbonse. To defecate. In Nigeria, we say to poo-poo. To defecate, Shigbonse. She is do. Igbonse is a combination of two words. Igbon kind of connotes shaking, the act of shaking. Gbon is to shake. So Igbon in Igbonse connotes the act of shaking. Ese is leg or legs. Collectively, legs. It could be leg, it could be legs. Ese. When you want to say that that could be the act of leg shaking. So Igbonse could connote leg shaking. When you want to say leg shaking in a different way, you could say Ese gbigbon. When you don't want to say igbon ese, you could say ese bigbon. That would be leg shaking as well. Bigbon would be shaking. Bon would be shake. Bigbon would connote shaking. So she igbonse is to do leg shaking. Like I said, it's less literal, but perhaps less gross. She igbonse. When you're amongst a group of people, I mean, you could say mufelo yagbe, you know. However, there are some settings that you would be in that you would want to kind of not say yagbe. You know, when you're amongst your own people, maybe at home or people that you're really tight with, you could say mufelo yagbe. Sure. I mean, you don't have to tell someone I want to go and defecate. You could just excuse yourself. Funny enough, we call toilets ilegbe, the house for poo, for defecating, for the house for, actually it's more like the house for feces. Ilegbe, the house for feces. So I guess my point exactly is, if you don't want to say igbe, you know, and you want to sort of say I'm going to defecate, but like in a less risque, less blunt way, you could say mofelo she igbonse. Igbonse could be leg shaking. It could be, I mean, that's what it means literally when you break it down. It could be used as a metaphor for feces. And when you want to say defecate, you could say shigbonse. Shigbonse. She igbonse. Shigbonse. Shigbonse. Moving on. So another word that could be defecate, apart from the previous two that I've mentioned, yagbe and shigbonse, is shega. 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 This one is less risque as well. Shega is a combination of two words. She, iga. She, iga. She is do. She is the Yoruba word for do. Iga connotes squirting. Iga is almost like, it connotes being squatting, placing yourself over something in like the squatting position. I don't know how to, maybe not necessarily in the squatting position, but being over something. It definitely connotes squatting, right? Definitely, it's old Yoruba-ish, so it definitely connotes squatting. Shega. So nibo lo, where if someone asks you where are you going to, and you're going to defecate, maybe you're trying to let them know that you're not just going to pee. I would address peeing in a different video. You want to let them know that you're going to defecate, and you might take a while. I mean, by saying you're going to defecate, they know that you might take a while anyway. So you would say mofelo shega. She iga. Do squatting. Do squatting. To squat. Shega. However, I've done a video on Yoruba postures. Low show is what you would say for squatting generally, because when you say shega, you're connoting that you're not just saying, oh, I want to squat, like literally, you're saying I want to poop, I want to defecate. That's what it means, you know. So there's a separate word that we have when you're saying squatting literally. You can check my video on postures out. When you say shega, you're saying I want to do squatting. That's what it means literally. But in the literal sense, when you say shega, you're saying I want to defecate. Shega. Mofe shega. If you've seen any of my videos on verbs, you will know what I just said. Mofe shega. I want to do squatting. I want to defecate, basically. Shega. Then another word that we have is shu. Mufelo shu. You would most likely hear that amongst like traditional Yoruba people. I mean, of course, Yoruba is a tradition and a culture. Everyone is a traditional Yoruba person, but you would most likely hear shoe in, the where there are like many indigenous Yoruba people. Shoe is defecate. Shoe, defecate. And then when you say shumi, you also say defecate. Don't say mufelo shu. Don't say mufelo shumi. No. No. Basically, you can say shegbose or shega. Those are more, you can say those in any setting. Mumba mufelo she. Basically, I guess the safest you can do is just excuse yourself. Mumbo. I'll be back kind of thing. But if you have to say that you want to defecate, but not be so literal, you could say shegbonse or shega. Shu imi. Shu is emit from the backside. That's what it connotes. Imi is feces. So when you emit feces from the backside, you defecate. So like I said, it's quite literal. And maybe that's why you would not want to say it in certain settings. Shumi is also defecate. Shu, defecate. Shu imi, you're just being more literal, I guess. Defecate. And the last one that I have is dawotele. Saying dawotele was more common when we used pit latrine systems, or maybe when we pooped in douches. I mean, this was a long time ago. A long time. And people still defecate in bushes now. To be honest, but it's not mainstream anymore. I mean, there are latrines, and even if you can't afford the WC, and almost everyone can at this time in Nigeria, at least in the cities. So I mean, even in the non-cities, I mean, come on. So my point exactly is, this one was more common when we used pit latrine systems, or we used the bushes. Dawo tele, when you expand that, it is dawo is a combination of two words, da owo, te ile, tele, tele is a combination of te ile, tele. Da owo kind of connotes putting end over. Da connotes put, owo is end or ends. So da owo connotes putting and. Te, you're putting your ends on. Te, on. Ile, the ground or the floor. Dawo tele, da owo te ile. Put end or ends on the floor. So it's like you're bending down, you're squatting, pooping, and then trying to find your balance. That's what it's from. I'm just trying to paint a picture in your mind so that you can understand this metaphor for the word defecate better. When I've used the pit latrine before, so I guess I have a clearer picture of this metaphor and how it would represent defecate, the word defecate. The correct posture that a person is supposed to take is, when they're defecating, is actually squatting, not sitting. So our ancestors kind of knew what they were doing. somehow they knew what they were doing. When you squat, you are able to pass feces more easily than when you sit. As funny as it sounds. So when you squat, sometimes your legs kind of hurt, and then you kind of have to find your balance. So put end on the ground to kind of find your balance so that you can continue, is what dawotele is, and it connotes the word defecate. Of course, when you say dawotele in another sentence, maybe, I don't know. I really don't know how you would say this, that it would not connote defecate, but maybe somehow, if you say it somehow, maybe if you're trying to describe, maybe you were praying to Mother Earth and you touched the ground, you touched this, I don't know. Dawotele may not always mean defecate, right? There's a way that you can still use that phrase in a sentence and it would mean something else. However, when you say dawotele, more often than not, you're saying defecate. This is less common. Less people use pit latrines now than they did in the past. So igbe, igbonse, and imi are the three words that mean feces, and then yagbe, shigbonse, shega, shu, shumi, dawotele, those are words for defecate or defecating, depending on how you use them in sentences. So I will walk towards making the video on verbs soon, how and these verbs would look when you say them in the present, past, future tenses, and with pronouns he, she, it, I, you, they, we, as I always do if you've seen any of my videos on verbs. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was really gross. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'll be more than happy to respond to your questions. Please like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to, and continue to support my channel in whatever ways that you feel led to. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day and goodbye.